than when someone tries to like sneak in like a middle finger or like something stupid. You're like, at least Tiny Hands is hilarious.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And Tiny Hands is going to be like 10 years from now. They'll be like, oh, yeah, remember Tiny Hands in 2023, 24?
Right.
But yeah, well, welcome everyone. I see we're live on Facebook, YouTube. If you're watching live, let us know. Say hey, drop in the comments and all that. I always like seeing who's here. And if you have any questions for us as we're talking today, just leave those in the chat and I'll bring it in when it makes sense. But yeah, I guess we can get started. Also, I didn't tell y'all earlier, but like if I go a little bit grainy or anything, as long as you can still hear me, then we're good. Because it's like
Perfect.
recording separately and all that kind of stuff. But yeah,
makes sense.
let's get going. Kyle, Bianca, welcome to the podcast. I'm really pumped for today, this conversation and having y'all here, getting to chat. But yeah, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
We super appreciate it. We're excited to chit chat away.
Yes.
Yeah. I always love talking like about, we're talking about like authenticity and like being your true self and like not like conforming to the trends, because we see so many trends. I've been in the wedding industry for like 14 years now, and there have been a lot of trends that have come and gone, and it's always the photographers that are like have their own brand, their own like personality that continue on and don't just like die out with all the like super saturated or the super orange editing and all of that. So I'm always happy to talk about this topic. But before we get into like all of that, before we get into like who y'all are, I have a little part of the show where I have guests, or not guests, I don't have you do this. I have listeners send in questions, and then I'll just pick a random one for y'all to answer. And today's is from Allison, and she asked, would you rather have teeth for hair or hair for teeth?
Oh man, teeth for hair.
Yeah, teeth for hair, 100%.
Once you said hair for teeth, I almost wanted to throw up.
Weird mouthfeel. I can't do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And I love food too much, because I was like, that feels like a whale, just like with the, like the bristle teeth.
100%.
I was like, no, I'm not just eating like krill for the rest of my life.
We ain't about that krill diet.
No. I think you could rock some teeth hair. Like that would be
just very punk rock.
Yeah,
that's what I'm feeling too. Like very like early 2000s. Like I'm seeing like Matthew Lillard with just like teeth hair.
Who was it that like did the diamond gem?
Wasn't that Little Uzi Vert?
Yeah. We're probably a couple years away from some big denti being like, you know what we need? Teeth for hair.
Yeah, like teeth gems in our hair.
Yeah, dude. That's gonna be the next thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm down for it. Let's do it.
I was gonna say, not a bad idea.
More we're talking about, the more
the more I'm like, yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah. I just want to like even just get like a wig of just teeth. That is probably out there. I would think. I mean, they've got that was in a movie. They've got the hot dog hands. They've got to have teeth hair somewhere.
I definitely think. I mean, with how many oddity conventions and oddity stores, that's got to be the next. Someone's got a tooth collection enough to make a wig out of teeth.
Yeah. So I have 3 kids, and it's really interesting. Spoiler alert to any kids listening. I'm going to talk about the tooth fairy or lack of. It is so weird, very controversial. It's so weird, like taking the teeth, and then we're like, what do we do with all of these teeth now? My
mom kept all of mine from my whole life. She has them in a little thing, and she was like, do you want these? And I was like, I don't really, I guess. Thank you.
They're sort of like smelling salts after a while. If you ever need a pick-me-up, just grab your kid's teeth and just take a little whiff.
Oh, that's good to know. That's how I need to get them up for school, is just bring their teeth in and be like, all right, wake up, everybody.
And then blame them for it. Be like, I don't know, that came from you.
I don't know. You need to brush your teeth, including the ones that you lost. Yeah. I mean,
Every
you could
day.
just like collect those and make a wig out of all those teeth now.
Yeah.
So Bianca,
Put
go
those by the
talk to your
ears.
mom about getting
Baby
those
hairs.
teeth.
Might do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. My mom did the same thing where she had like this little Ziploc bag. And whenever I turned 18, she was like, well, since you're moving out, do you want to take these teeth too? And I was like, I don't think so. No, thank you. But yeah,
That's
I have
amazing.
no idea where our kids' teeth are. That we've just like, we don't have one central place. They've just like gathered in places, which is kind of weird, just thinking there's like body parts around the house. But just
It's better when
random.
they're all collected in the same thing. It's just
Oh,
like
yeah.
all in the same Ziploc bag.
All
There's
3
not
kids.
separated
Oh, yeah.
out being like, I don't know. Take your pick. You want your stem cells back?
Yeah.
You
Take
might
a
get your
gamble.
sisters. Or,
Yeah, you might. Who knows? It's a lottery. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, sweet. I'm glad that we're all on the same page with the teeth for hair. I think that is
100%.
that's the better choice. But yeah, thanks,
This is a
Allison, for that
non-psychos
question.
podcast.
Right? Yeah, we're not hair teeth people. But yeah, well, okay. Now that we know that both of y'all would prefer teeth for hair, tell us a little bit about you, where you're based, what you do, all that kind of stuff.
So we're based in Central Florida, about an hour on the East Coast, outside of Orlando. We have been just kind of been doing the wedding photography thing for 8 years now. Outside of weddings, we do engagements, elopements, family
Families.
portraiture,
Yeah.
with kind of like a non-traditional flair, but still get those sweet candids.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm speaking in code.
Oh no, we need to change the vernacular in the industry. I love candies. Just getting those candies
yeah.
for
It's all about
everyone.
those candies.
Oh yeah.
Those delicious sweets, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. I might change that on my website now. Instead of like documentary style, it's like we get those sweet candies for you throughout the day.
Munch them up.
Oh yeah. Well, sweet. Well, cool. So like, I know y'all, like you mentioned, you're not like so like a little bit more of the like kind of non-traditional style. Has that always been something that y'all have like gravitated toward, or like how did that come about? Like your whole style?
We were actually scrolling back on our Instagram feed, and we were like, man, because again, we've been just doing it for so long. We were like, have we always been like this? Because after a while, you're just like, I don't know. It's been like one giant blur. And we went back as far as we could, and really outside of like the first 2 weddings we did, there was always a little bit of some like extracurricular within the at least portrait side of things. And I think that really just stems down from like an immediate way of just conquering boredom.
Yeah.
Like we were like, oh, after a while, like Bianca, she's a photographer through and through. I mean, she's been outside of like our business. Before that, she worked in a studio, went to college for film photography. She has just been doing photography forever. So as far as like the more traditional side of things went, like she was already at the point when like she could just do that in her sleep.
Yeah.
And for me, I was just like, I don't know, I can't focus on anything. So I was like, I don't know, it seems like there's like an opportunity here to like elevate things, even if it's one photo of this, 20-minute portrait. Like it didn't seem like it's going to harm anyone. And I think a lot of that also stemmed from there being 2 of us.
Yeah.
Where like if one person, definitely at the beginning more so, if one person was just like doing a more traditional shot, the other person would, throw a prism in there or throw it into double exposure mode and just see what happens. We were like, if anything, no harm, no foul. Like at least you still got that first shot. And then if the more artistic photo came out cool, throw it in there. Like it's not going to hurt having an extra photo.
Yeah.
And then just that kind of snowballed as we went on, and then it was just like, it wasn't just prisms, then it was doubles, and then it was adding stuff in post-production outside of like in-camera stuff. And now it's just
everything.
I don't know. It's just chaos now.
It is chaos.
Yeah, it seems like every new reel that y'all put out, I'm just like, oh, that is a new technique that like I haven't seen y'all do before, of just like layering like 8 different photos in one, and like all that kind of stuff. Is that like something? Well, I want to touch on what you said earlier of just like how like even back at the beginning, like y'all were doing that kind of to stave off some boredom because like
Yeah,
I definitely got into a like burnout season where I was like shooting at the same venues all the time and all the weddings just kind of like
totally.
seemed the same. And
Yeah.
and that was about the time that I got into double exposures, film, stuff like that. Where I was like, "Oh, okay, this is a little bit different. It's something that I'm excited to try when it's like I've done the same thing 20 times already this year. And it's,
Yeah.
you know, hard to like be more creative when you're like shooting the same stuff over and over. So I love that y'all like were doing that from back then. And then, you know, I think it's really important, like for the listeners, if you're like maybe not into double exposures and prisms and all of that, but just like find something that excites you and do that. Even like Kyle, you said, like, even if it's just like one photo out of an entire session, it's like, I'm just going to try this one thing. And then if it doesn't turn out, it's fine. They don't have to see that photo. And if it
Yeah,
does,
and I
then
mean,
cool.
and at the end of the year, you know, depending on how many gigs you do, but even if you're just doing whatever 15, 20 weddings a year, at the end of the year you're going to have 20 absolute bangers, and then those will just be in your back pocket of like, well, if any, because again, we'll go into things and we'll have a general plan, but as far as the creative, like kind of alternative portraiture, it's like that stuff is for us just jazz.
Yeah.
Because like I don't know the mood that the couple's going to be in, because sometimes they might be like, I don't want to smile at all, I want to look dead inside. And we're like, cool, well, I'm going to knock those a couple ideas that we have off that were maybe a little bit more like playful stuff, and like let's just throw those in the trash. And if you don't have like a few ideas like in your back pocket, like you can kind of get that like I don't know, what do you want to do? And then your client feels unsure. So having like, again, you just do that one or two times every time, and then dude, you'll be golden.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's really good because there's so many times I remember, I mean, even still sometimes when I go into like a portrait session and I'm not prepared and it's just like been a chaotic day or a busy week or something, and I'm just like show up and kind of going through like the tried and true poses and prompts and stuff. And if the couple's not feeling it, then even sometimes now I'm just like, all right, well, what are you feeling? What do you want to do? And like having that in your back pocket, like you said, of like kind of like a tool belt of like, oh, I can pull out this thing and let's try this.
Yep.
Yeah.
That can just like boost that creativity in the photo shoot itself, and then keep you from feeling like you're not prepared, or at least not like presenting that to them, because that's the worst thing is with them being like, I don't know what, you're the professional, like you're supposed to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Like, that's why we hire
and dude, I feel like sometimes that just happens. I mean, statistically, not everyone's going to be a personality match or not know what the heck to talk about. And I mean, I think it's like totally normal. And I think like in times where we do have like gigs where we're like that, we will always take like, I know for on the photographer side of things, like taking a 30-second or 1 minute, like, let me collect my thoughts, seems like an infinite amount of time. But I feel like on the client side, like they don't care. Like it's like a lot of the times our clients might think that, oh, I thought we were gonna like photograph for like Austin Powers, you know what I mean? Just like, oh yeah, give it to me, and then it stops, and then it's like, okay, we're gonna regroup and like get a new plan going. Ours is like pretty, just like we're just constantly like going. We can't sit still. But that like controlled chaos is like sort of where we like live in the pocket. But also we definitely let all of our clients know, and that most of our stuff really is very simple, and it's just standing there. We call them pillar people. It is the cornerstone of our business. It is foolproof. Everyone looks cool just standing there like pillars. So at least default to that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that's even better for them, because they're coming into it like, I'm not a model, I don't know what to do. And then you're just like, you just stand there and then I'm going to do something with you. And they're just like,
Yes.
like for me going into a photo shoot
Cool.
as the person getting photos taken of, I would be like, oh yeah, I can stand. I know how to do this. I do this all the time.
Yep.
I've been doing this for
Exactly.
years. But yeah,
Yes,
and
100%.
I like that idea of like, you know, not like forcing certain creative shots and stuff on people when you're reading it and you're like, okay, they are not feeling this, or I don't think this is going to fit for this client. Like instead of like,
Yeah.
I got this shot list, we're going to do all of these because this is what I need to submit to this, you know, portfolio or to make this next TikTok or something. I need this shot, so we're going to do it.
Yep.
But instead, like reading them and being able to pivot a little bit.
For
I
sure.
think that's
It is like, I think it's so important because
Yeah.
there's definitely times when we went in thinking just like, you know, whether you have the clients like socials and stuff and you're like, oh, this person seems very much this way. But then in person, it's like, oh, complete 180. Like I remember years and years ago when we were trying to do more like, I feel like everyone went through this like big, like prompt based, like only type of more like directing style of photography. And we like dipped our toes in that. And then like, I remember we were like, okay, we're going to do this prompt. This one's sick. This one's, and the first thing out of the client's mouth was, oh, we did engagement photos where the photographer had me like sniffing her hair. And I thought that was so stupid. And we were just looked at each other,
like,
just
no,
like audible. We're not going to do any of
never
that. We're
mind.
going to like just stand there a few times and then we'll figure
Yep.
it out from there. And we were like, we got to figure out how to quickly pivot to this because this is going to be a nightmare.
Yeah.
yeah. It's like, okay,
Everything you
scratch
think.
off number 4. Don't sniff the hair. Okay. Yeah. And it was like always those, because I had a similar deal where it was probably around that same time where it was like whisper her favorite cereal, just like really sexy
Yep.
in her ear. And I was like,
Oh, yeah.
this is stupid, but I'm going to try it. And then I had someone that they were just like, you know, what, we're fine with whatever you want to do, just as long as you don't have us like whispering cereal names at each other. And I was like, yeah, no, of course we're not going to do that.
Dude.
that's
And then there's
silly.
the opposite. And there's some clients that will still email us to this day of like, during any time we get our photos taken, we still say sexy vegetables. And I'm like, well, I'm glad that worked because some people, that is their like trigger word.
Yeah.
yeah and it's, I know, it's just, it shows like how different every client is, and that you can't just like have this one set thing where it's just everyone's going to fit into this mold. Because even though we like, as business owners, we target a certain, you know, we have our target clients that we speak to, that we want to like identify with and have them feel comfortable with us, but they're not always the ones that book us, because sometimes it's other people that are just like, I don't know, y'all are cool photographers, I like what you do, we can work together. And then they're just like the opposite of you.
Yeah, we definitely have that happen so many times at this point in our career too, because we have such like a specific style. So we do get a lot of people who, you know, either are just drawn to our work and like want to be part of it, but not necessarily like not our vibe, but like definitely just like not the person we would expect to like our work. And it's been really fun though to like, you know, get to know those people too, and really try to push our creativity to like suit those people just as much as other people who we would expect to hire us.
Yeah. And I think like what we did is, so as you were saying, and I know like a lot of businesses, like when you're, especially when you're first starting, kind of making those like 3 tiers of like your top tier ideal client, your middle tier. What we did probably like, oh man, when things got good. So probably like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Because we kept doing that. And we just took that concept, crumpled it into a ball, and set it on fire. And we were like, honestly, because for us, it didn't work. I was like, every time we did it, I was like, I feel like we're messing up with marketing. Like, we're not conveying this way.
Like...
And we just started, we have one ideal client, and it's a picture of the 2 of us. And I said, if we can market to ourselves, we never have to put a mask on. We never have to like pretend we're something we're not. We never have to say things like we talk like idiots. Like we have horrible vocabulary. We don't read enough books. Like we are not like the brightest bulbs on the wall.
Yeah.
But like, I just know for a fact that statistically, there's probably 100,000, maybe even more, maybe 1 million people that are just like us, that might not be carbon copy, but have a similar taste in music, have a similar taste in food, or things that we sort of like. And that made our lives so much easier.
Yeah.
Because every time we go to make a video, I was like, I don't know, what would keep us watching? And I was like, and that's all we do. Because otherwise, like, man, you get lost in like chasing this, like, what's the next trend? And you're relying on the internet to tell you what your content is, instead of like you telling, like, I could be a part of the people that just makes the content for you to watch. I mean, yesterday I was on TikTok for 6 hours and I went off and I'm like, no, I'm the creator, not the consumer. And
oh yeah, I feel that every time that I'm on TikTok and I'm just like scrolling and scrolling. I'm like, no, I need to be creating. I don't need to just like sit here and watch all these videos, even though they're my For You page is like so fine tuned to exactly what I like now.
Yeah.
It's just like just throwing up banger after banger. I'm like, oh, this is good too. I'm gonna like this one. Okay, but
on days when it's like that, we just call that marketing research at that point. When it's like when it's a 6-hour deep dive, I don't know. I'm trying to find new sounds. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm trying to get the vibe of what the people want right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's important. You gotta be able to read the room.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Well, I love that y'all just like took that idea, crumbled it up, lit it on fire, threw it out the window, because like I did that for years trying to reach, because I was like, you know, good, like mid upper tier kind of couples and, you know, shooting some nice weddings, making a good amount, but I wanted to hit that like luxury client. And that was always like kind of what I saw in the industry of like, well, once you're here, you move up to here. And then once you're here, you start doing destination stuff. And I was like, okay, I'm going to move toward luxury, which is not really me. That's not who I am.
Dude,
like,
not who we are.
I'll say this. A lot of people do not realize that. And it's this kind of like this dream that they're chasing. Like you're supposed to, dude, this industry is not ABC.
No.
You can go to so many paths. We dipped our toes in the luxury market for 2 weddings. Looked at each other and we were like, forget this, dude. I want working class people who we just vibe better with. It's and again, it's just, you got to go with what feels comfortable to you. I mean, personally, we stepped away. One of our biggest things was like, we got to go away from the barns. I was like, this is just not our vibe. And we got away from that. And then our world just opened up. We got to do a lot more downtown stuff, a lot more like nature stuff, and we were a lot more fulfilled in our work. And there was a lot, I mean, not foolproof, but there's definitely a lot less days where we're like, oh dude, if I have to go to another place that I'm not into, like I'm gonna literally lose my mind. But that's the beautiful thing about the internet now.
It's it's so good. So getting out of barns, because that's a big thing, because I'm in Texas, so we also have a ton of barns here. It's just like every other venue is just, oh, another reclaimed barn, cool. But like, how did y'all get out of that? Was it just like not
we got
really
banned
sharing?
we got trespassed.
Yeah, we did.
We started actually standing our ground against like one of the big venues in town. Apparently it was talk of the found out recently that everyone's like, you're the ones who stood up to that venue. And
they're like a big, like they have like 6 or something venues in the state of Florida. And like,
we always took a very punk rock approach. And I was like, dude, we haven't like pissed anyone off. We got banned, actually trespassed. And it was the second greatest thing that ever happened to our company. That's when kind of our trajectory started to like really pop off. We started to get a lot more like downtown elopements. Once people stop seeing things like on the feed, and again, that's also a lesson of you don't have to show everything. I mean, we photograph so much stuff on the beach, and it's just vicinity based. We're 15 minutes from the beach. It's gonna happen. But it's not something we are the most passionate about. It's not something that sparks a whole lot of creativity. But it's something that we just have to do and accept. But it's, again, share it once, twice a year, maybe. That we'll do beach stuff. Surprise, surprise. You don't have to do stuff that you don't market that you do.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think
Right.
that's like a good lesson of like you can say no to people too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if people are just like, I'm getting married on the beach, I'm gonna be doing this, like that's not really my vibe. That's, you know, and if you're not wanting to shoot barn weddings and have like the capacity of like the amount of leads coming in that you don't need to take every single thing, then that's a great place to just be like, I don't think I'm going to shoot this barn wedding. I'm going to leave this date open and hopefully get something
Definitely.
else, or
Eh,
shoot it. But like those like one or two photos from like your early days where you're like, I'm going to shoot one or two like creative photos, like shoot one or two that doesn't look like a barn, that doesn't have
Yep.
the big doors back behind them, that you can share from that wedding, from that engagement shoot, whatever, and market it more toward like a nature type couple or something like that.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say we definitely got like a lot of good stuff from our barn weddings that we used to do, but I feel like that one instance really just kind of helped us to learn how to say no, because we were at a point in our career where it really was scary to say no to anything, and it just kind of, you know, like it's the same thing when you go full time and you quit that part time job. You know, you kind of need that to like push you to get what you really want, which is being full time in whatever your small business is. We kind of, you know, that banning was like a blessing in disguise for us, as far as like we needed that push to like really get ourselves out there and like, you know, kind of put the pedal to the metal on like marketing towards like clientele, like elopements and, you know, downtown areas and stuff like that, more than what we were doing prior to that, which was staying in this comfortable spot. And really, like, you know, it just kind of made us uncomfortable and got us out of that, because it's so easy to get stuck in like just like the wheels, you know, as far as like that's concerned, and it's scary to not do that. So
Yeah. Or just thinking like, this is just what my clientele is.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, you can definitely start changing things if you want. I mean, sometimes we'll just make like insane videos to deter people. I was like, I don't know, I feel like we're getting too general here. We got to reel it back in, let people know that we are psychopaths.
Yeah. Like when you did that one like recently where you like cracked Bianca's head open into, was that like a fortune cookie or orange or something?
It was a strawberry.
A
In
strawberry.
season, by the way. Highly recommend. Go to your local
There you
grocery
go.
store, get some strawberries.
Get
Delicious.
some in-season fruit. Yes. I just bought
It's the jam.
2 pints this morning. So our daughters just, they will eat an entire pint in a day. It is insane.
They know.
But yeah, I also like what you mentioned about like not having to shoot luxury in order to like have a successful business, where like y'all tried luxury for a little bit and we're like, this isn't for me. Because I did that recently where I had back-to-back weekends, and one was this very luxury wedding at like a country club, you know, huge like floral budget. It was very, very high end, and they were just very like uptight, very worried about all the photos. They sent me like this shot list that they wanted me to check off, and I was like, it's cool, I've got all these up here, but I'll carry this around with me if you want. And like it was very much not my vibe. And then the weekend, the next weekend was right before Halloween, and this couple, like we did their engagement photos, and they did like we brought like Jason Voorhees masks, and then they dressed up in their Halloween costumes at the end, and their whole wedding was like Halloween themed and very like dark, and they had like fog machines and stuff. And I was like, this is my kind of couple. And that like really opened my eyes to like, they both paid the same for these weddings.
Yep.
But one was not really my style. Not really like, if I had 15 of those in a year, I would not be happy. And the other with the Halloween and just like super laid back, chill couple, I was like, okay, if I had 15 of these, I would be beyond insanely happy to just be doing this all the time. And I think that's a good lesson of like, you don't have to follow what the industry shows that you have to do in order to have a successful business.
Totally.
Go ahead.
No, go for it.
I was going to go back to the whole like ideal client thing and kind of touch base on that too, of like, you know, with the luxury industry or that side of things, we can't sit here and pretend that like people who are like us also have money to spend and want these luxury things. Luxury isn't just a one-sided thing. It's not, it doesn't look like one thing, which is why like the ideal client is kind of misleading, because your ideal client may be a million different things. It may not fit into this one box. People are complex as ever now. Like so many people are into so many different things. Doesn't matter what you make. It doesn't matter how much you own. You could be into anime. Kylie Jenner could be into anime. You know what I mean? Like there's such a range of personalities. So like also like getting yourself stuck in this like mindset of there's a certain person. People are all complex and different, and everybody likes so many different things. So not putting people in boxes is also really helpful as well, to just kind of market yourself out there and get who you want.
Do you need some water?
yeah.
Yes.
You said it like you were getting emotional there.
No.
This Bianca with the monologue here. I love it. Yeah.
So sorry. I was just trying to get it out.
Yeah.
She watches Gangs of New York once and starts speaking for the little man, and it's just like riot in the streets, the dead rabbits.
Yeah. I love that. That's like it's so important to remember though. Like that, you know, everyone is so different, and there, you know, could be a multimillionaire out there who's just like, I am super into wrestling, and I saw your videos that y'all also like wrestling. I want to work